Here's a question. Can somebody who is in active addiction also have spirituality? Think about it, because your mind is sort of screwed up while you're on drugs, right? But can you be spiritual at the same time? We're going to answer that question today, maybe, right? Welcome to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm Randall Carlisle, your host. My co-host, Nicole Slack. Hello, Nicole.
Hello.
Are you spiritual today?
I'm never spiritual.
Oh, okay. Well, then you'll be interested in it.
But consistent. So I'm going to give myself props.
She's consistently non-spiritual.
Yes.
Okay. And Devney is our guest today. And you are going to, you and I just had a discussion before this started.
We did.
And I'm sitting here thinking, is Devney still on drugs?
Great.
No.
Yay.
It's sort of jokingly, but welcome. You are in long-term recovery now. How long?
Over 2 years now.
Wow.
Over 2 years now.
Good job.
Thank you.
And before we get into your spirituality, which I find really interesting, Nicole's going to find it interesting too.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little about how you got involved in drugs and what that did to your life?
Absolutely. So it was in 1999. I had just graduated high school, and it was offered to me, and it was like, okay, why not? You know what I mean?
What was it?
It being meth,
Okay.
methamphetamines, and I had taken it, and it was from that moment on. It was like I liked how I felt. I liked. I was addicted from that moment on, and so I had really never taken a break from that for about 23 years. Well, up until about 4 years. I'm 4 years clean now. So I had used all the way up until then. It just became a part of my life. It came. How I functioned. It became how it was normal, right?
You must have had drawbacks, though.
So there's drawbacks to everything, right? But yes and no, because the way that I had functioned, because I don't like to label myself, and I usually don't like to even say this part, but I am super ADHD, right? And so for me, it slowed me down. It slowed me down. It made it to where I could function. It made it to where I could focus. It made it to where so I was very, very functioning. I had a house built. I had a business. But of course there's drawbacks to everything. I'm super optimistic though too. So it's like, everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like I got this, and it's just go over the speed bumps, go over these until they became mountains. Right. But there are drawbacks. There are, and everything's fine until it's not. And that's kind of,
That's a great line, isn't it? Everything's fine until it's not.
Until it's not.
And when was it not for you?
Looking back now, a lot of times. But instead, I'm just like, I just kept pushing through things. I mean, looking back now, I see the difficulties I was having. You know what I mean? I seen that, I was that person that never ran out. I was that person that budgeted into my monthly financial things. I was that person that always had it before it ran out. I always, made sure that it was like at the top with my bread and butter and, the
grocery list.
The grocery list,
Meth.
right. And so there was cognito words for it, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's how I functioned. But I also, again, looking back, seeing all the difficulties I was having and what, compared to now and how life is aligning out for me and the way things are going now, like there was a lot of struggles.
Did you ever during that time think, yes, this is working for me in managing my ADHD, but should I switch and go to a doctor and get on ADHD meds?
No, never, because it was working, right? Mm-hmm. The one time that did happen, when I was in prison is when they diagnosed me, and they're like, do you ever come down off of this high? And I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, they tried to diagnose me with antidepressant, manic, everything under the sun. And that just wasn't it. I'm like, and so while I was in the prison setting, which is the weirdest thing ever, they're like, we're going to put you on Ritalin. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I just got in trouble for this. And now you want to put me on this. Like, for me, it's the same thing. They're like, the difference is it's legal. And I said, I get that, but I don't want to do it. It was a pretty, it was a hard thing for me to swallow, right? And to be labeled ADHD and all this, even though I knew who I was and I knew how I am, I didn't want to be labeled it. And so 2 weeks had gone by and they came back and there's like, we think this is really critical to your success. Like, we just want you to try it for a little bit and see how it works. I still bucked it and was like, nope, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then I was like, okay, I'll try it. So they put me on Ritalin. You know, they seen where it, you know, calmed me back down and I was able to focus. And so when I had gotten out, I went through 8 months of going to the pharmacist and trying to get it. Because it's a controlled substance, it was harder than most people would think. I mean, you're getting it from the pharmacist, the doctor's prescribing it, like, and they kept giving me like the salt combo, and it was a generic from Ritalin or Adderall, and I kept going back, and for 8 months, I like just kept in my mind, well, not in my mind, but I was building myself up for injustices and being, you know, angry because they weren't giving me the real stuff. And so I'm like, this isn't working. I'm just going to go down the street and get my own. Like, I went through that for 8 months, and I would call my mom and I'd cry and I'd be like, Mom, they did it again. And the salt combo is not the real thing, right? And it's just a generic. It wasn't working. And so I would cry like every day or every month. I call and they did it again. Like, it's not working for me. I'm literally going to go back down the street and just get the meth because that's what works. And finally, after 8 months, that's what I did. I did it again. And so for me, I never was at that point where like, oh, well, the one time in my life, I was like, okay, we'll try it your way, right? And it just didn't, it wasn't working for me. So I went back and just went to the streets and got it. And then I thought I was fine again until I'm not, right? And so, yeah.
What were you in prison for?
Meth. Like, I had gotten picked up.
Okay.
I had gotten pretty much, and it is what it is. I got away with it for so many years, and then I got pulled over in 2018. You know, and for speeding. Anytime I've ever gotten pulled over, or
So to speak.
yeah, well, because I've got a lead foot, and so anytime I've ever been in trouble, it's because of my driving. And so I had actually had a gun in the car, and I was so proud of that gun, right? And they're like, do you have any weapons? Do you have any? I'm like, oh, yeah, I got my gun and all this. And they're like, okay. So they go and they get it. They run the numbers on the gun, and they come back. They're like, do you realize this gun is stolen and connected to a homicide? And I was like,
Whoa.
oh, no, I sure didn't. They're like, where'd you get it? You know, and they break all that down. I'm like, you know, we bought it at a yard sale down in Phoenix and yada, yada. And so that gave them permission to check the car. And of course, always right in the front, I had my paraphernalia and my drugs right where I could reach it all the time. It was, you know, real handy. And so they got it, and I went to jail for the first time. And from there on, it was like, it was just downhill.
So don't buy your guns at a yard sale.
Don't buy your guns at a yard sale.
Yeah.
Check the numbers. There's
Wow.
get them the way you're supposed
And
to.
don't carry the gun if you have meth or if you have any drugs on you as well.
Well, I mean, that kind of plays hand in hand, yeah. Here.
So for you, actually, because you did it so long, you probably weren't even, I mean, you knew that it was illegal to buy meth and
100%.
use it, but it just became part of your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Anytime you have to sneak around or think you have to come up with a lie or, you know, do something that is duplicit like that, yeah, you know, I know right from wrong, right? I knew every single time. And you know, that's why I'd always park my car down. I'd do the whole 9 yards of like, got to do this secretive. You got to do this where nobody knows and don't tell nobody. And yeah, of course, you know, it's wrong.
Huh. So how did you end up in a treatment program?
So I continued to get myself into trouble. And
Just because of buying meth?
being caught with it, speeding,
Yeah.
speeding again, and then
Okay.
now you're in the system, so they're gonna double check when you're in the system. They're like, okay, she's been in trouble for this before.
Okay.
Let's do another search. Let's do this and that. And when I say I went to prison, it was a prison setting. So I went to a writer's program in the prison setting in Boise, Idaho.
Oh.
And so I went and did that for 6 months. Got out, transferred, did an interstate compact down to Arizona, and decided to get in trouble again. I got pulled over again. I was already pulled over and I got pulled over like that. I was already off on like a dirt road and they pulled over. And because of my background, they were like, well, we're going to do a search. You know what I mean? And so they did. Got in trouble again. And so this last time I wound up in a high-speed chase. So it was just racing somebody down the road, just minding my own business, right? Racing somebody down the road, come up over a hill, and there was a cop sitting there, and I'm like, oh, this wasn't such a good idea, and I'm already Mach 20, Mach 100, and so I got in trouble for that. I went to purgatory for a year and a half down in St. George, and then just started, that spiritual part you were talking about started coming to me, and I'm like, man, things were just changing in my mind, changing in the way that I was feeling and thinking. I seen a flyer on the wall that was, an alternative to incarceration at the Other Side Academy. And I'm like, maybe this is what I need. Maybe I need something. I need something because obviously my thinking wasn't working. And so I wrote them a letter.
The flyer at Purgatory?
It was at Purgatory, yep. And I had remembered with my high-speed chase, when it ended, it didn't end well. I ended with me in a bush, a tree. You know what I mean? So I had broken my right foot. My gas pedal foot is how I was always like, wow, the one thing that breaks is my gas pedal foot. This is a sign. You know what I mean?
I got to stop just for a sec. I've always wondered, when people are in high-speed chases, do you really think you're ever going to win that battle?
You do. You do.
You really do. I mean, they can call helicopters. They can.
I know.
And their cars are probably faster than yours.
These ones weren't. However, the helicopters are a thing. And I don't ever like to
At the time, you think
Yeah.
you're going to win.
At the time, you don't think much. You're already in it, right? You're already in it. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I can't speak for other people, but in my mind, like in that moment, and I hate to say this because I don't brag about what I've done in my past as far as, like have criminal pride, but I was pulling away from them at 104. Like I was getting away from them. It was me not having anywhere to go, and seeing a forest on this side, and saying, I got to get off. And it was getting dark at this point. So it's like, if I can pull off and get down into the forest, I've got it made, right? However, there's trees in the forest, and when you turn your lights off, it doesn't always work out for you, okay? So it's not really a good idea to do that. And so when I had pulled off, I had gotten down there into the forest, and I had turned my lights off, and I had hit a tree. So when I had hit a tree, the cop had already passed by. But he saw out of the reflection and it being dark and his peripheral vision, the lights. Because as soon as I hit that tree, the trunk flew open, the lights went off, the airbags went off. I mean, it was like Fort Knox. And I'm like, and so he flipped back around and he came and that's when all that happened. But
Okay. I was just curious because when I hear people go on those chases, I think,
How does this end?
Yeah.
Do you think?
you don't know.
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't know, and that's why stupid moves start happening. You start making irrational decisions, and you start, swerving in and out, and out of traffic, and at that point, nothing matters because you're already in it. And
Yeah, and the bottom line is that even though you may feel you're thinking rationally, you're not really.
No.
Because you're still controlled by the drug, right? Your mind is, sort of.
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
Oh, well.
absolutely.
So you go to the Other Side Academy, which is how would you describe the Other Side Academy for people watching all around the world and everything? It's you describe it, okay? It's not a treatment facility. It's called an educational program.
It is a behavioral modification program, and I have my pros and my cons with it because I love what they try to do for people. However, the person has to be 100% ready, and we all go in broken. You know what I mean? And I understand that part. I think the hard part for me was there was just certain things I wasn't ready to change, and there's certain things that and they literally break you down. It's a tough one for me to answer because I love them, but I also am
And I don't want to get into a negative thing about the Other Side Academy, but the difference between a place like that, which is basically based on breaking you down and you working really hard every single day with no professional therapeutic input, right? And that compared to Odyssey House, where you work with therapists and professionals, and we do have some strict guidelines, but not the same way. So
I think what's cool about the way they do that part is it's peer driven, and the people that are there have literally been through the same thing you have, and so they can relate and they can help you that way. I think with Odyssey House, they have a lot of knowledge in the therapeutic part, and that part is great too. And you know, so both sides have their pros.
I think both of them say they're therapeutic, both us and
Yeah.
other side say therapeutic community, and we are definitely peer driven too. I think the
Right.
biggest difference is we have rational authority with clinicians.
right.
There you go.
We're a modified therapeutic community. And,
Yeah.
and places like the other side are just a total therapeutic community that peers control the whole thing. So
I think just like Odyssey's not for everyone, maybe that one can work for people too, because
So true.
it is behavior modification, and that is what helps addiction is behaviors, not the act of not using.
That's right.
It
That's
is
right.
changing that behavior that gives you the permission to use. And I think that's where they've really got it. Like they're doing a good job there. And that's all I'll say.
yes, yes. So anyway, yeah, because we only have 14 minutes left. Don't look at the clock.
I have not been until you said
No, so you've succeeded in the you went through the Other Side Academy, you left, you came to Odyssey House, you're succeeding in the Odyssey House program.
In the Odyssey House one I did not with the Academy, because there were some things that I wasn't ready to own up to. There were some things that I wasn't ready to take accountability for. And if you cannot do that, they will work with you as much as they can. And to an extent, it is super hard, it is super intense, and it's not for everybody. But yes, I have taken who I am with the Academy and came to Odyssey House, and like I have ran a clean program with Odyssey House. I have been very grateful because it's like I have realized that I can be who I am at Odyssey House, and I'm accepted. Where there, I felt like I was held to a higher standard, and you're held at a high standard, because they want you to be the best person you can be. However, I wasn't 100% like there yet, and it's taken me a long time to get to that point to be like, okay, here it is. You know what I mean? And own my ugly and own the things that I have done. So yeah, I came to Odyssey House and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be the same person that I am. And I have learned that by doing that, I can still excel and and I don't feel the pressure and I don't feel like I have to lie. I don't feel like I have to be this person that I'm not. And so it has helped me in so many ways because it's like it gives you that different, I don't really know how to explain it. It just gives you that different, I don't know. Did you work through some things with your therapist that was able to help you get there? 100%. 100%. Like I went in there and just vomited everywhere. I'm like, here it is. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to word
Here's
that.
me, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could not wait for my therapy sessions. Like every week, my therapist was there and he was always supportive through the week. But my sessions with him were the ones where I was like, okay, I can say every ugly thing I'm thinking in my head and he can help me like go through it and pick it apart. And I think that's where I learned the most about myself.
100%. And the thing is like there were some things I'd held on to when I was at the Academy that I was so afraid to tell and that I was so afraid to say something because, sometimes it's fear of the consequences. Sometimes it's fear of what they're going to think of you. Sometimes it's fear of not being good enough. And I would wake up with like that anxiety in my stomach. I'm like, okay, I messed up and I'm scared to say something. I'm scared to, when I got to my therapy at Odyssey House, I let clean with everything. I was like, these are the things I didn't tell. And it ate me up so bad that I had held it inside. But when I got there and I had talked to my therapist, it felt so good to be like, these are the things I never told, and he just kind of looked at me and he's like, that's what's been eating you up? And I'm like, yeah, because, if you don't run a clean program and you don't, and you hold secrets, it literally stops your program, right? And I brought that to the Odyssey with me to where I was like, I still have things from the other side that I'm hanging on to, and I need to just get this off. You know what I mean? I need to get this out. And when I did, it was so cleansing. It was so, so my therapist knows everything, right? And it was a good feeling. It was.
Let's answer the question that I posed in the beginning of this, your spiritual side.
Yes.
Can you describe it? Maybe starting, you told me that you felt that you were different spiritually when you were younger. Describe that.
So, and it's a really hard thing for me to describe because it's still so new to me in one aspect. But like, what I was describing to you was like when I was younger, I would like give massages, or I would if I'm massaging you or whatever, and I hit a spot that is hurting on you, I would get this sharp pain that went to my elbow. I never understood what it was. I always thought I was weird. I always thought, this isn't normal. And my mom would always say, why do you jerk back like that? Here we're trying to do like a relaxing time, and I'm like going like this, and she's like, what do you, I'm like, I don't know. I just get this sharp pain that goes to my elbow, and I don't understand what it is. I would never really tell anybody about it because it's weird, right? Like you're just weird.
Probably wise.
Probably wise, and so I held on to that for forever. And then of course I used for all those years. And when I had stopped using and got cleaned up, like other things started happening to me, and I could feel other people's pain when they'd walk in a room.
Like,
and
just somebody walking in. Can you feel pain from Nicole and me?
If I'm in tuned, yeah. At this exact moment, no. But if I were to get in tuned and you walked in, I could usually tell something's going on. And so here I'm incarcerated. I don't have any books. I don't have any schooling. I don't have anything. I would get certain dreams, and I'd have things that were happening, or just intuition. I'd be like, "Can I see your arm?" And I'd feel it, and I'd be like, "Man, are you out right there? Or are you?" And I don't know how to ask somebody when you don't know what they're asking. If it just seems weird. Like you act like you're some psychic or you're some this or that, and I don't feel out. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be. So I called my mom one day, and I'm like, "Mom, these things are happening, and I'm not really sure why I'm getting these dreams or why I'm having these feelings when somebody walks in, or I don't know why, like literally, I can sit next to somebody and just feel like, just know that something's wrong. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing. It could be that they're down in the dumps and they're just, they're emotionally, having, some sort of situation." And she goes, "Devney, I don't know. We weren't grown up around this. It wasn't something that was a belief in our family." And she goes, "Devney, I wish I could help you, and I can't." She's like, I don't know. She goes, "But let me get you in touch with the lady." She goes, "She does dog therapy. She takes the dogs to hospitals and therapeutic with right. animals." And I was like, okay, something, because this is bizarre. And so she gets me in touch with this lady, and I start talking to her, and she just lets me spill it. She just lets me tell her what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, the things that are going on in my mind. And she goes, "Devney," she goes, "I have never met an actual, like, natural healer." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, I'm still not understanding. And she goes, "People study, they go to school, they take years of training to be where you're at right now." And I was like, okay. And I'm listening to her, like, not really sure what to even say. And she goes, "Did you know that I'm a master Reiki healer?" And I said, "I didn't. I don't even know what Reiki is." You know what I mean? And she goes, "Well, it's energy healing." She goes, "And everything that you have described to me," she goes, is energy healing." And I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Like, I still don't understand energy. I still don't understand any of this. And she goes, "I'm going to send you in a book." And she goes, "I want you to look at it." And so she sent it in to me, and I just was crying. I'm reading through it because it's like, I call it silent knowledge because I don't understand how to explain it, right? But I'm reading through it, and everything that I'm reading is confirming the thoughts and the things that I've had. So it's like, okay, now I don't feel so unnormal because somebody else has had these same thoughts. Somebody else has had these same feelings. They've literally publicized this. They put it out there. It's a thing. It's a thing. And so I just started working on some of the women that were there, given permission, that I could like try these certain things that were coming to me, and the results were happening. And so it was like, to me, it was I'm just feeling like, okay, this is my calling. And if I've had this my whole life, but I've been blocked by meth, then here's a real good reason to stop. You know what I mean? There's lots of good reasons. But if this is my calling and this is my purpose and this is what I'm meant to do and this is the gift that I've been given, why would I ever try to stop that? Why would I try to sabotage that by going back? And like, this is my calling.
I think that brought you so much peace, though, to read that book and have it put like in words. All the things you were feeling and kind of knew, but didn't know what it meant. Or I bet that was cool.
The tears and the overwhelming feeling because I really thought I was crazy. I really started thinking.
I'll bet.
I was like, I can't tell nobody about this. I can't say anything. This is really weird. I can talk to my mom, but she doesn't know how to help me. You know what I mean? And so it was very overwhelming, but yet a relief also. And so
how are you going to use you? So we'll presume that you have a special gift, right?
yeah,
How are you going to use this?
I'm going to take it and I am going to get my foot in the door working with, massage therapists and energy healing people. And eventually I want to open my own business called Natural Hands Down Healing. I want to do massage therapist, energy healing, Reiki. And then I want to throw some equine therapy in there, some horse therapy. And I've got it all mapped out. And I feel like I've also been put into Utah, like the state of Utah, because I'm learning the more I'm getting out and about, there's a lot of energy work here. And it's not everywhere. You know what I mean? It's just something that's coming to the Western states. It's not a well-known thing, however, it's here. And here I've been placed in Utah. So I'm like,
I love that.
yeah.
What you said you can feel something when somebody walks in a room, or like maybe somebody shakes your hand or something, and you feel something. And it's not necessarily your place to say there's something wrong with you, right? That must be sort of weird. You meet somebody and you think,
Yeah, that's why I don't.
this person's struggling with something, but you can't say anything.
It is because it's like, how do you bring this to somebody's attention? Or do you even bring up what you think is going on with them? Because then they're like, well, you just get, I don't know. I haven't ever ran into anybody that's like, well, you're weird. Don't tell me that. Or you're trying to be a psychic, or you're trying to be, but I'm very cautious with it. I'm very cautious. And we sit down and we have a talk and I'm just learning on how to approach somebody, how to say something, but I've been very blessed with the fact that people have been very receptive. And again, I'm cautious with this. So I'm not like, diagnosing
I
people
don't
and
blame
saying,
you. Yeah.
being like, and I'll just be like,
This lady's nuts.
I know, believe you me. Like somebody who used to think that about other people and now it's happening is like, okay, I've said all these things and thought everybody was crazy. Now it's happening to me, so it's
cool.
It is cool. It is cool. And I'm going to run with it because it is a gift. And I don't believe that it's me doing the healing. I believe I'm a conduit for a higher power. And because it's not me at all. I think I'm just again the conduit that is able to be that help.
Wow. Thank you for sharing with us, Devney.
Yes.
It's Devnee.
Yep.
Strange name.
I've gotten that my whole life. And I do love it though. It
is cool.
Yeah.
You can remember it so easily. Thank you for being so open and honest.
Yeah.
And it proved the fact that somebody who is dealing with addiction and drugs can be spiritual. So we answered the
Absolutely.
question, right?
You can be. I mean, absolutely you can be, right?
Yeah.
It's your own journey. It's it's within you.
Good luck on your journey.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Good to see you, Nicole.
You too.
And
Very
thank
good.
you, everybody around the world and right here in Utah as well. Thank you for watching or listening to another edition of Odyssey House Journals.